Ground ball. McLean, second. 12 in a row. The oldest team in professional baseball has its 5th ever winning streak of a dozen straight.
Our job every day is to try to kick somebody's ass. I mean, that's why we're here.
That is caught. Left center. Reds win.
And this ball is launched high and very deep to right, long gone. It's second of the night. Ellie De La Cruz.
Short lead for Pena. Larkin drills it. Do you believe this? It's going to be gone. Back to back. Walk-off home runs. How about this? He's back. He's back. He's back.
And a swing and a drive. Deep left field. This one belongs to the Reds. Swung on and hit deep to left field. That ball is going to be gone. Home run from the Reds for the tie to 4.
Goes to second one. Around the first. Got a double play. And the Reds sweep the Cubs. Breaking ball. Hit high. Hit deep. Way back there. And gone into the second deck and left. Christian Encarnacion Strand walks it off.
Archer does it in his major league debut. He gets the final 3 outs, and the Reds get an extra inning win. A thriller 5-4.
Swung on. Fly ball. Hit the deep right field. That ball is going to be gone. A grand slam home run by Mike Cameron.
2 outs, 2 on. Reds down by 1. Larkin down the line. This'll win it. This'll win it. Here comes Tucker. Here comes Steins. Larkin's won the game. Barry Larkin gets mobbed. Look at this scene. It's synergy.
The stretch, the pause in the pit, and a line drive, base hit left center field. A single for Aaron Boone, and this one belongs to the Reds. The Reds have won 8 in a row.
Kobayashi with a long look turns it loose, and Dunn hits it to deep right. It's all over, and this one belongs to the Reds. The Reds have won their 5th game in a row. They've defeated the Cleveland Indians on an Adam Dunn 3-run home run, 4-2. In on the corners at first and third. 2 on, nobody out. Here's Royce Ring pitching, no bunt. Ground ball by the third baseman into left field. Jay Bruce rounds third, and this one belongs to the Reds.
That's it pretty good. Guess what? He doesn't need speed. That's gone. He's the king of the Queen City tonight.
With 1 out here in the 11th inning, you sure got to go now. One out, pull down the left field line. That ball is going to get the winning run in. Here comes Jay Bruce rounding third, heading toward the plate, and this one belongs to the Reds.
Huge situation for Votto. Why you paying the big bucks to deliver the goods with 2 outs in the 9th inning? Can he do it? In the gap, right center field, and Votto delivers the goods.
Hit deep center field. Hank Hill going back at the warning track. It's gone. Joey Votto is delivered.
Hello there, Reds fans. Welcome to another day of Reds baseball. Today is May 23rd, 2025, and this is your Chatterbox Reds pregame show for the Reds versus the Cubs today at Great American Ballpark. Nice day out there. Hopefully we'll get a lot of Reds fans down at Great American Ballpark for us. I'm Mike, and joining me today is a guy who definitely knew who Garrett Hampson was before the Reds signed him today. Ricky Logan, how are we doing today?
Not as good as Garrett Hampson, but I'm doing pretty well. It's a nice, lovely Friday. Reds baseball, City Connect Friday. Hunter Green's back. Let's go. We got that. And yeah, it's Friday.
Yeah. So I think that that brings us to our first topic here. We have some breaking news, right? Earlier today, the Reds have signed infield outfielder Garrett Hampson, who was recently cut by the Diamondbacks. And the corresponding move was sending down Rece Hinds, sending him to AAA. There's been a lot of discourse about this. I think that we each have our own thoughts on it. Ricky, why don't you get started with some of your initial thoughts on this transaction and what we're going to see here?
When I first saw the deal, I thought it was a minor league deal. And then I saw the A next to the M, and it just what are we doing? I guess the only positive out of this whole entire thing is that Hinds is going to play every day in AAA. But I mean, what are we doing? We need power in the lineup, and Garrett Hampson's not bringing the power to the lineup.
Yeah, I agree here. It was just really frustrating as you've seen the formula for what has been working here with the Reds, right? Especially these past couple series. It's been going out, getting good pitching, and then having people that can hit the ball out of the ballpark, right? We've seen it with Will Benson, we've seen it with Rece Hinds, but we've seen some, we're these wins that we've been getting, especially in that sweep against Cleveland, it was, getting the long ball. And there's no way to shake it that this is not that, right? This move does not help you in that situation. And it's frustrating because, we can go over a lot of different things about his power, about how he was hitting, about all these different things. I've been thinking, it's like, why would something like this happen? I genuinely think, and I don't think that this is a good excuse, but I genuinely think, hey, they were like, hey, we're still hampered on the infield with no Elvi Marte, right? They came up to that situation. Charlie asked him, hey, why didn't you pinch hit for Espinal in the 9th there with maybe Benson or Lux? And he mentioned something about, hey, well, Lux is, we're giving him a day. But I think genuinely he just didn't want to play anybody else at third base there. He just genuinely doesn't trust Lux at third base. And this,
but there's so much
move,
more you can do with that.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not saying I agree with this.
Yeah.
But it's just like they've now given him somebody that they can feel good about him coming in and playing third base, maybe even as just a defensive replacement. But it's just like, at what cost? At the cost of a young player who just gives you so much more upside. And even if you look at just like traditional stats, right? Hampson this year batting 167, Rece Hinds batting 158. Sure, Rece Hinds strikes out a lot, but yeah, at least he has 2 home runs. Garrett Hampson hasn't homered in 3 years, 151 at bats since he's hit his last home run. WRC plus, advanced stats, Hampson's at 70 and Rece Hinds is at 86. So even if you're unwilling to play Hinds every day, which I think we should, why, in what world is this guy a upgrade offensively? And the answer is he isn't. He isn't.
Yeah.
And when we're going in, I think this maybe speaks to something else overarching that the front office has in the building of this team is they clearly, and they've said this, they clearly have focused on hit over power, right? They want people that can hit the ball. And then with their thought is with Great American Ballpark, they're going to luck into some home runs, right? We're going to have some line drives that turn into home runs. And so we just need to prioritize hitting over power. And I think we have a big enough sample size now that show that that's just not helping. That's not working.
Not working.
That's not working. And the people that are coming in and making the most impact are the people that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. In 2023, when the team was rolling and we would look like we could be a power or a playoff team, it was because Ellie and McLean and even Joey Votto there a little bit were hitting the ball out of the ballpark. And it's just really frustrating to see that this organizational thought of like, hey, we're not going to take advantage of our biggest asset, which is our small ballpark. It's just maddening. It's clearly not working. So I don't know. What are your thoughts, Ricky, on what on this organizational thought of using, going for hit over power?
I don't agree with it, especially in the ballpark. I mean, yeah, we weren't winning a whole lot back in the early 2000s when we first got to the ballpark, but Dunn hitting 40 home runs like perennially was, if he had a better lineup ahead of him, they probably would have won a whole lot more games. If you put Adam Dunn in his prime on this roster, we're probably winning 85 to 90 games. I think so. I genuinely believe that because Dunn puts the ball in the seats, and if you have 2 guys on base, that's 3 RBIs. And then you do that, 140 times. That's what Dunn did. But I have some stats pulled up. It's a small sample size, obviously, with Rece Hinds and Garrett Hampson, but Rece Hinds has played in 31 games. Garrett Hampson's played in 648. But just take this with a grain of salt. Batting average for their career, 231 for Hinds, 239 for Hampson. On base percentage, 296 for Hinds, 302 for Hampson. I mean, is it an upgrade? Like, what? It's not like he's putting the ball in play and getting on base.
Right. Yeah, I genuinely think this is their thoughts are, hey, this is defensive flexibility with Hinds getting to play every day, which I guess is okay, but
play
it's
Hinds
clearly
every day over Connor Joe.
Yeah. In my mind, it's just sacrificing, putting the best product out on the field, and that's what's frustrating. That should be our goal, is to have the best chance to win against a pretty good left-handed pitcher that is doing pretty well this year, and then we've struggled against, and we're just not putting ourselves in the position, in my opinion, to do that. And that's just frustrating. As a Reds fan, I think everyone around here, it's frustrating. It's just like levels of the same argument that we've been making all year long, right? With Steer playing when we don't think he should have, with us bringing up Hurtubise and playing Blake Dunn without bringing up Benson. This is all just the same argument over and over and over again. It's just like, why are we not trying to put our best lineup out there to hit? And, all we can do is hope for the best. Maybe all this and Connor Joe goes out and hits 2 home runs and we spank the Cubs tonight. That'd be great.
Maybe Garrett Hampson comes in and hits a walk-off home run.
Oh my gosh. If that happens,
shut everybody up.
Yeah, I know. But it just is something. It's just something that it's frustrating, because I was obviously mad when they didn't pinch hit for Espinal, but I wasn't as angry as Tito with as Trace and Nick were. But just like time after time after time, if we're not putting ourselves in position to win, like what are we even doing? Why should the fans come and support that?
It's an organizational failure.
Yeah. So I think that's enough of my negativity for the show. We can get to the lead. Should have been the lead going into this show, is that Hunter Green is coming back. I have one more thing about Garrett Hampson. Sorry. He's in the 84th percentile sprint speed, and last year was in the 99th percentile for sprint speed. So at least he's fast. There's something positive. Maybe he comes in as a late inning pinch runner and helps us out there. So that's all I got on Garrett Hampson. But let's talk about the lineup. Hunter Green's on the mound again for the first time in 2 weeks, and we're excited about that. Ricky, why don't you walk us through a little bit about this lineup and how we line up against Matthew Boyd?
Yeah, we got TJ Friedel leading off, playing center field. Espinal in the 2-hole, which against the lefty I'm all right with. That's where he should be versus left-handed pitching. Ellie De La Cruz batting third, playing shortstop. Austin Hayes left field cleanup. Spencer Steer's kind of heating up. I think he's on a 10-game hitting streak. Kind of getting there. And Stevenson DHing. Trevino catching tonight. That's upgrade defensively too. Connor Joe playing right over Rece Hinds, and Matt McLean batting ninth, playing second. And our good friend Hunter Green back on the mound.
Yeah. I've seen some consternation about no Will Benson at this point. I just hope that there is a quick hook on either Connor Joe or maybe even Stevenson.
If he gets sent down over Jake Fraley, this chat's gonna riot.
We don't need that. We don't need to discuss hypotheticals. But I would love to see Benson as an early bat off the bench. Get your hot batter in there. And to Tito's credit, he did do that on Sunday, or what was it, the last game we played, Wednesday. Especially after the riot that Trace was starting on Tuesday night. But it just is. It still looks a little lackluster. As somebody, we're facing the team that scores like one of the most amounts of runs in the league, and we'll get to that. It's like the Cubs hit the ball so well, and it's like no matter how good our pitching is going to be, like we're going to give up runs, and right now you get 2 or 3 runs on the board by the Cubs. It just feels insurmountable, and that's pretty frustrating. We were talking beforehand. It seems like Hunter Green's going to need to pitch a no hitter into the 7th if we're gonna have a chance of winning this, which I would take. But man, it's really tough to see things like that. What are your thoughts on Hunter Green's start tonight?
Yeah, I guess one positive I want to start before that is my good friend Roger in the chat. The Reds were 20-30 at this point last year, so I guess we could take that.
Good point. That's a good point.
At least we are better than last year at this point. And last year's May was atrocious. But yeah, Hunter Green coming back, man. That's the shot in the arm. It's huge. He's one of the best pitchers, if not top 2, top 3 best pitchers in the game, and the fact that he's playing that well in this ballpark is just, you can't ask for anything better. He does pretty well against the Cubs. He does give up the home run ball, but hitters are 16 for 22 against him, and Ian Happ's 2 for 13, Horner's 3 for 15, Suzuki 6 for 13 with 2 home runs. But I mean, PCA's 0 for 6 and Tucker's 0 for 2. So I just hope that the injury and taking the extended time off doesn't lead to them with a short leash, that he doesn't need a short leash. Hopefully he can go 6 strong innings, maybe 7, hopefully. And hopefully he's just rested as opposed to like injured and just wanted to get up quick.
Yeah, I like that they're trying to get Jose Trevino's bat in the lineup as well. Connor Joe against lefties, I think he is pretty good. And to be honest, he hasn't been that awful. I know that it's bad that's like our measuring point is not being that awful, but has made some base running mistakes, which is not great. And it feels like this series is so big against the Cubs that we are going to need to play close to perfect baseball. Like, we are going to need to not make any mental mistakes. We need to throw the right base. We're going to need to, take the extra base. We're going to need to not get picked off, to, get runners around, hit sac flies, all things that we've struggled at a little bit this year. And I really hope that we're going to be able to do that. The problem is, we don't have to get back into that, but it's just like, you have to do that less if you just have a guys that can hit the ball over the fence, which, we don't have at the moment. So, I see a comment in there about Austin Wynns. I think that's an interesting point too. Austin Wynns has like 6 at bats in the past 2 weeks or something like that.
It's not like Stevenson's hitting the ball great either. So
yeah, Ricky Young bringing it up, wondering why they won't play Austin Wynns. I'm not really sure. I get that Stevenson is the catcher of the future, but man, not even giving him anything in there. It's not like this offense is blowing us out of the water either. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe we see him as a pinch hitter, but they haven't really been willing to do that either. So I don't have any answers for you on why Austin Wynns is not in there. Just that I wish I saw him some more.
Yeah. Quick note on Stevenson. He's batting 120 in his last 7 games with a 185 on base percentage, and he's slugging 160. 10 strikeouts. He's got 25 strikeouts in his last 15 games.
Yeah. Just, needed a little bit more in the rehab assignment and, figuring it out in the big leagues. But once again, that's just, that's potentially, it's not putting the best product out there for us to win every day. And that's unfortunate. I think he'll come around. Like, I don't think he probably had his best year last year. He's one of the people I was the least worried about coming into this year. He turned into a very serviceable catcher. But when your stars are struggling, Ellie and McLean, you just can't afford to be dragging people along like Stevenson and Steer in your lineup that are not producing either. Yeah. Let's move to the opponent's lineup. We have Ian Happ in left leading off, Kyle Tucker DHing tonight. He's usually in right. He's batting second. Seiya Suzuki is playing right instead, batting third. Pete Crow-Armstrong is their young center fielder, batting fourth. Carson Kelly, their catcher, who has also been hitting very well, batting fifth. Michael Bush, batting sixth and playing first. Dansby Sponson, batting seventh, playing short. Nico Horner, batting eighth and playing second. And batting ninth, Matt Shaw, recently recalled rookie, that got some time in AAA, but he will be batting ninth and playing third base. Any thoughts on this lineup and how they fare against Hunter Green? You already talked a little bit about them.
Yeah.
And their matchups.
PCA has a really short history with Green, so I'm kind of worried about that just based on how well he's been playing this season. I mean, he's, I think, projected 4th in NL MVP voting so far this season. And I think he's leading or second in WAR. And I think he's the best WAR outfielder and second WAR overall. Or he's and his defense is great.
Yeah, we'll touch on that later. I think a lot of his WAR is drawn from defense as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's hitting very well as well.
Yeah, and then Kyle Tucker's betting odds are 5th in MVP, so them 4th and 5th respectively, and then Tucker's 8th in MLB and OPS, and he's 14 for 14 in stolen bases also. I mean, the Cubs are very efficient in stolen bases this year. I think they're at 83.5% or something, and the Reds are at like 71. It's going to be tough. It's going to take Hunter Green really. I really wish this wasn't his first game back, just based on all of the circumstances. I wish this was like his second or third game back, but I do still kind of like our odds because the Cubs, like, their defense is really good, but like their hitting is really good, but our pitching is kind of like our equalizer for us.
Yeah, we need our pitchers to go out and shove every single game this weekend, and it's tough because if you have bad starts, which happen, like, there's just not really much hope for a comeback, which is not great. Matt Boyd is their starting pitcher, left-handed pitcher. They signed him this year as a free agent, and he has pitched pretty well. It looks like in the last 9 starts, he's gone at least 5 innings with no more than 3 runs. He's been very consistent. I think he's got, do you have his ERA? I think it's like 2.3 or something like that. 2.8 or something. Pretty good.
2.38. Yeah.
Yeah. 2.38. And, a stingy lefty is somebody that has been giving the Reds trouble. So let's just really hope that we can do something to change that. Let's look at our pitching path to victory. Like, what is the bullpen lineup to be coming here? Actually, before we do that, I'm looking. We have over 100 viewers in here right now, and it looks like we have about 20 likes. So I appreciate everyone who's watching, and I thank you all very much for all the people that are commenting and are watching. But if you could do us a favor, please hit the like button. It's been scientifically proven that likes help the Reds, and they need all the help they can get. So if while you're in here watching, whether it's on your phone or on the computer, if you could just reach over and hit that like button, that would really help us out. And frankly, help the Reds out, which is more important. Okay, so let's talk about this bullpen that's coming up over here. We had the day off, but so did Chicago. So the bullpen seems to be fresh. The big 3 haven't pitched since like Saturday or since Sunday. I guess Ashcraft pitched, but besides that, Pagan, Santillan are available. Any thoughts on what you think we're going to see here today, bullpen wise?
Yeah. Hopefully the Reds win, but Taylor Rogers threw 26 pitches on Wednesday, and Ashcraft and Jabot threw 10. So bullpen's fresh. May threw 28 on Tuesday, but he was the only reliever that's active that threw. So I feel like if we can get a solid 5 out of Green, maybe Suter can come in and kind of play that 2-inning guy, and then we can get, hopefully with a lead, have a Pagan in the 9th.
Yeah, man, I hope we get more than 5. I guess you're right, especially first one back. I could see them not pushing it very hard, but boy, I would hope for at least 6 out of Green, because frankly, he just gives us our best chance. His stuff's been so dominant. He's been very, very good so far. And yeah, I'd say just Green to Santillan, Pagan would be so great. Yeah. And what's interesting too is Chicago's bullpen is weird. Right now they kind of have a closer by committee. they've had 7 different players get a save this year, which is crazy. And no one has more than 4 saves. Ryan Presley, I think, came in the year. They traded him from the Astros to get him, came in as the closer, but has lost that spot for just being bad. So nobody has more than 4 saves, which is interesting because I was like, but they're winning a bunch. Like, what's going on? And I think it's their offense has just been so good that they haven't needed, So, I mean, their bullpen is 19th in ERA, 21st in walks per 9, and 27th in striking and strikeouts per 9. So, like, they're giving up runs, they're walking people, and they are not striking people out, and they're still winning. They're still in first in the NL Central. They have a plus 83 run differential because their offense is just mashing so hard. So, I'd love to be in a position to take advantage of their bullpen, keep it close. And if we are down, try to get some runs off that bullpen. We're at home. So, maybe we can change that over 22 that we have for losing going into the 6th inning. And maybe we can get a magic potion here and start rattling off some wins, some comeback wins here, where if we don't score first, we just lose. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the bullpen and in that situation there?
Yeah, I really agree with what you said. I really want to be able to get to their bullpen because the Cubs are, I just had the stat. They're 20th in batting average allowed as a pitching staff overall, and I think we're 3rd. We're 5th. We've only allowed 223 as a pitching staff. So, like I said, if we could just keep them at bay and they're not gonna outscore us by 9 runs and just add to their pitching differential or run differential stat, it's gonna take. It takes a guy like Rece Hinds, honestly, to just put the ball out of the ballpark. That's what we need. Like, this ballpark, for one, isn't built for hitting guys around. And then it's not like the guys on the roster are guys that hit the ball around. So it's just, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get to that a little bit in our what to watch for. But before we get there, let's talk a little bit about the rest of the series. There's not going to be another pregame show for this rest of this weekend series. So Saturday we have Andrew Abbott going against Colin Ray with a 2.38 ERA, and then Sunday we have Lodolo going against Ben Brown with a 5.44 ERA for Ben Brown. Some positives. Colin Ray, we saw him a couple times last year. He was most recently with the Brewers. I think spent some time in Japan. So he's been kind of all over the place. We have some pretty good numbers against Colin Ray. I think Benson is 5 for 10 with a home run, triple, and a double. Ellie is 4 for 10 with a home run and a triple. So man, it would be great to get some offense explosion out of that tomorrow. And then finally, Lodolo, Abbott and Lodolo have been great, but Ben Brown is got a 5.4 ERA so far this year, and last year he's 0 for 2 with an 8 ERA in his 2 career starts versus the Reds. So, I think Nick mentioned that if we wanted to have lined up the pitchers that we'd want to face, those would be it, right? Yeah. Guys that we've seen and had success over. And I believe Colin Ray and Ben Brown are both right-handed. So it's like, let's make some hay here. And today is just going to be the tough one against a tough lefty, Matt Boyd, who has been good when he's played. His big deal has just been injury proneness. So we'll see how that runs for the rest of the series. Let's hope we can at least take 2 out of 3 there at home and take the Mason Cubs fans, have them send them home unhappy. Ricky, why don't we move to our NL Central rundown? What are we looking like in the standings?
Yeah, currently the Cubs are leading the division. They are I think I just had it. Sorry. They are 30 and 20. And then the Cardinals are 27 and 23 in second place. They're playing the Diamondbacks tonight. The Brewers are tied with us, 25 and 26, a game under 500, and the Brewers are taking on the Pirates, and the Pirates are 17 and 34, which that doesn't matter because we lost 2 out of 3 against them.
Yeah, we've put that series behind us already, haven't we? Yeah, so we're running up on time here. Why don't we get to what to watch for is what do you have? You got any fun stats? Our Friday night candy
Yeah,
is really run out, unfortunately. So
I
what do you
got
got
two.
for us?
I got two. So Tyler Stevenson, which we need this. He's on a bit of a cold streak. He's had at least one single in 7 of his last 8 home appearances versus opponents that hold a winning record. And Santiago Espinal has recorded at least 1 RBI in 3 of his last 4 home appearances against NL Central opponents.
Okay. I like both of those. So you got odds on what that
Stevenson's was plus 145 and Espinal was plus 185.
Okay. All right. So that's not bad. Let's hope that streak continues. Man, if we can get hits from those guys and then, we're going to need help when we have a lineup set up for small ball. We just need contributions from everywhere. And hey, let's hope that we get that. Let's hope that we can get that contributions from everyone. My what to watch for here is actually the Cubs outfield defense. It's actually a little bit muted now that I put this together before I saw that Suzuki was playing in the outfield. But their typical outfield is Ian Happ in left, Pete Crow-Armstrong in center, and Kyle Tucker in right. And Kyle Tucker, Gold Glover in 2022, hasn't graded out as well defensively, but still covers a lot of ground and is pretty good. But Pete Crow-Armstrong his defensive prowess is just so impressive. Like, he wasn't hitting at all last year, but they kept him up because he was just so good on defense out there. So far, he's 8 outs above average in the outfield, which, I get it. Some people don't love that stat, but that's the 100th percentile, literally the most outs above average. And, maybe you don't love that stat for it. How about this outfield jump, right? Out the jump you get 99th percentile, arm value 94th percentile, arm strength 94th percentile. So not only is this dude go and get it, but he, has elite jumps, covers so much ground, and has a cannon. So and the reason why I say that, because in left field, who do we have? We have Ian Happ, the 3-time defending National League left field Gold Glove winner. So they have just guys that cover ground and play great defense out there. And GABP is, bottom 7 when it comes to outfield area. And I know it feels like we're beating a dead horse here, but what's that mean? That means it's really hard to get balls in the gap. It's hard to get, balls when they cover all that ground. And what would we need to beat that? And that would be balls over the fence.
Yes.
So it's just so frustrating because it feels like in this series specifically, with the Cubs defense as good as it is, you would want that homer threat, because that is where you're going to be able to have it. And unfortunately, Nick Kroll doesn't think so. And Rece Hinds is on a bus trip down to Louisville. So that's my what to watch for today. I'm sure PCA will have an amazing sliding catch. Ian Happ will dive into the stands and take one away as well. And we're going to be sitting here with another loss. But hopefully, let's try to figure out what you think. It's time to get out our crystal ball, or shake up our Magic 8 ball, figure out what our projection for the score is going to be tonight. Please put it in the chat. I know that we are getting, there may not be some positive views on this one tonight, but what do you think, Ricky? What's your thought on what the score is going to be tonight?
I think that we are going to have a similar series to Cleveland. I'm not going to go and say we're going to sweep, but I think we're going to get game 1 tonight. And I think we're going to go out there standing tall behind Hunter Green. Friday night, City Connect night, those uniforms seem to tend to a little bit more of happier play, I guess. And I think Hunter Green's going to throw with Jim. He might allow 1 run. I think it's going to be overall 4-2 Reds. We're going to get 4 tonight.
4-2 Reds. Okay. WTI Trader, he says 5-0 Cubs. Boy, post-game show tonight would be tough if that's what it ends up being. You know, man, I hope not. But it looks we got a 10-0 Cubs in here as well. It's hard to be positive. I want to be. And I still think the Reds are going to win because I think they have to play small ball, and so they do. We got 4-3 Cubs from TC Thompson. 4-0 Cubs, optimistic John, living up to his
4-0
name.
Cubs or 40 Cubs?
Oh, I think he means 4-0 Cubs. God, I hope it's not 40 Cubs. But I think that they're going to have to score because I think the Cubs are going to come and score. And I'm going to say 6-5 Reds is what my thought is. But, I mean, it makes sense why everyone thinks the Cubs are going to win. The deck is stacked against us, but I just want to remind you, the deck was stacked against us last week, right? We had the Guardians in town. They're way better. They came in hotter. They're all of their pit. They hit Brady Singer a ton. And what did we do? We went out and won a game. So hopefully we can turn it around. That's something that that this Friday crew is pretty good at. I think we're 7-2 when we're the pregame show. So we're here to turn that train around. In fact, I have something for you all. It's something that you maybe have seen before, but this is to help brighten the spirits because we know about these Cincinnati Reds fans that are willing to stick it out through thick and thin.
Because you're from Cincinnati, and that means you're tough. So let's go win a ball game tonight.
There you go. Let's go win a ball game tonight.
Let's go win
Ricky.
a ball game.
The Phillips brothers are on tonight on the post game show, and boy, keep supporting them. They're doing a fun job. I got to hop on with them last weekend. It was really cool. It was great because they're winning.
Yeah, they're crushing it too. They're really good.
Yeah. Please help us like the stream. I see we still got a decent amount of viewers in here with we need that like count to climb. We're at 31 likes right now. We need it to climb. The Reds need your help. This is, we can be mad at Nick Kroll, but like all we need is we need likes to help us out here. What was you said 4-2 Reds and I said 6-5 Reds. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got one more in here. 6-3 Reds. I got to highlight it because it's Hayes with 3 RBIs tonight. Thank you, Redbeard Breaks. Thank you for coming in with the positivity.
Because he's tough. He's from Cincinnati.
Right.
He's tough.
Yeah, that's right. He's tough. So, yeah, I think that's all we have today. Let's hope we can bring home a win for the Reds this series. Go down to the ballpark and cheer louder than those Cubs fans that are going to be there. And I think all we have left now, Ricky, is for you to hit us with the Go Reds.
Let's go Reds.